We're rolling. Camera's rolling.
Quiet as heck.
Why are you shushing me? You're the one that wasn't shushing. Hey everybody. I'm coming to you from the Lake Dick Chalet. That's our secret mountain cabin that we sometimes retreat to. Don't look at me like that. They don't know it's not a real thing. Katrina Lake reminded me that I said on social media that I would answer some parking lot questions. So we're gonna do that. Now because I'm long-winded, I got a timer here and I got some notes somewhere. There they are. If you're a Los Angeles, you know I have a tendency to get long-winded, so we got to keep this short. So we're gonna do parking lot questions. 5 questions in 10 minutes. I got a timer here. We're gonna work it out. All right. Let's start. Let's go. All right, here we go. What are the differences between virtual workshops and in-person workshops? I got 90 seconds on the clock. Go. I gave this some thought because I was way against virtual workshops when COVID happened, and I wasn't going to do it. And there's a whole story I tell in my workshop about it. But I think I wrote some notes down. The thing is, an in-person workshop costs a lot to everybody involved, right? Like if you're the participant, you have to travel, you have to pay for travel, and even if your company's paying for it, that's a cost. You got to take time away from your family, from work, everything else. That's a cost. If you're the trainer, you got to provide a space, you got to provide food for everybody. So it adds a lot to the price of the workshop. And you know, for a certification that people really need to get in the door, that can be a problem. It can become a barrier. So I think there's a benefit to the virtual workshop in that the overhead's a lot less. So that's why we offer it so much cheaper than we used to when I was traveling around the world. Now the downside is it's not quite the same experience, right? In person, the communication is higher bandwidth, but I'm not sure that that's necessary in like an informational certification workshop where you're just trying to learn something, get some letters after your name. I used to think that was going to be a big thing, but it's really not. As long as, and I did some research on this, as long as you can see a person and hear them from the waist up, you get pretty much the same amount of interaction. So that's what I think about that. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next one. I have never used Mira before. Is it hard to learn for your workshops? I assume that means, do I have to do work beforehand to learn how to use Mira expertly to do the workshop? 90 seconds go. It's hard. I mean, any new tool or new app or new anything that you're trying to use to collaboration's hard enough without, you know, this virtual world that we live in, and there's a learning curve. That said, there's a couple of things. Thing number one, I help people at the very beginning of the workshop, I help people work through any problems that they might have with the virtual space. I use a tool called Miro, M-I-R-O. Other people use other things. You know, that's the one that I came up with. I spent a long time, probably a year and a half, figuring out how to use it because I didn't do virtual before this. But I don't think I think that's burying the lead. The real thing is, you're going to spend time with a team. So your team is going to help you a lot more than I am during the workshop use the tool. And that's the real world. I think that's half the benefit of the Fearless experience is that your team spends time working together. Everybody helps everybody with the challenges that they have with the, you know, the goal of getting the letters and learning the stuff. But using the tool, that's half of it. That's half of what goes on. So I think that's actually a benefit. It's an unexpected benefit. I didn't think it would be, and I've been surprised about it, but I think it makes the workshop better and more realistic, right? Reality and struggling are our two greatest teachers. And you definitely get that this way. Ooh, right on the post. Look at me go. All right. Let's check the other ones here. What do we got? Oh, this one's good because I get to talk about me. My mom always said, don't hide your light under a bushel, Jimmy. And Katrina Lake has spent the last almost 10 years trying to undo that. I probably should hide my light. Okay, but anyway, can you describe your training style? I heard your workshops are entertaining. Well, that's really nice. Related, why don't you use PowerPoint slides? All right, put the 90 seconds on the clock and I'll go. So, my training style has been evolving for 14 years, right? I first moved into this training environment in 2008, didn't expect to. And I never liked school, I never liked training, I never liked educational environment. I took a lot from a guy named John Medina, Dr. John Medina. He's a brain scientist. I'm gonna share a quote here that really sort of transformed my understanding of how to do what I do. He says, and he studied it, right? He's a scientist. If you wanted to create an education environment that was directly opposed to what the brain was good at doing, you probably would design something like a classroom. If you wanted to create a business environment that was directly opposed to what the brain was good at doing, you would probably design something like a cubicle. And if you wanted to change things, you might have to tear down both and start over. And I did that when I first got into, coaching agile teams and being a scrum master and doing scrum stuff. We literally physically tore down cubicles in some places, and we got in trouble for it, but it made a difference. So I've tried to do the same thing in the training world, right? That's why it's immersive. That's why there's no PowerPoint. You don't learn that way. You learn by struggling through a challenge with other people, and that's what you're going to do. So that's sort of my style. The entertainment part, yeah, a little wordy though. That's why that went over time. Okay. All right. We're getting close. We're getting close here. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got, I like this one. This is one I care about a lot. How can I become a better communicator with my team? Put the time on the clock. All right. So here's the thing about communication. The first thing is, what are you trying to communicate and why? Why do you want to? So a lot's going to depend on that. But the other thing is, there's a few issues. There's personality things. Maybe you think you're an introvert and you don't like talking to groups. They asked adults what the top 5 things they feared were, and number 1, ahead of death, more than death, adults fear talking in groups. So that's something that you just get used to by doing it a lot. I started real early. I was 9 years old and I got put in the public view because my grandfather was the governor of the state of Wisconsin. That sort of is an advantage that I had. Plus, I don't have a natural embarrassment mechanism. But the larger thing is just understanding that as a scrum master, as an agile facilitator generally, an agile coach, as a product owner, you don't need to communicate so much as you need to help other people communicate with each other. And that's a lot of behind the scenes work. So I think the issue is not how can I communicate better. I mean, the way you can communicate better is limiting, voice only or text only communication. It's low bandwidth and not lots of people aren't good at it. Hashtag neurodiverse squad. But you're going to spend a lot more time helping other people communicate. So learning to do that is about facilitation. And that's something that you learn in the workshop that I can't explain in 90 seconds. All right. How much time we got left? Oh, all right. So we're doing all right. So last question, and this is one we get all the time. I read on Scrum Alliance that for the February 26th through 27th CSM workshop, there are scholarships available, but don't see any further information on your site. I am also emailing, but where can I find info? And then there's a few other things on here about how can I apply for a scholarship. So here's the situation there. when we switched to virtual workshops, which I fought against, kicking and screaming because I didn't think it would work, start the timer. I had to figure that out, right? I had to figure out how to do it. And what I really discovered was that because, like I said before, it costs a lot less for everybody, it should cost even less than I think. And a lot of people didn't change, but we did. Katrina Lake especially was involved in this. We decided that we would not let people not get in because the cost was a barrier. So we started this scholarship thing. We give away 2 seats in every certified Scrum Master workshop, 100% free. And then there's a bunch that are on a sliding scale for what people can afford. And we have a lot of people that they'll pay full price, about
$795.
just to be so other people can get in and do it. And it blew up. We didn't really expect it to blow up the way that it did. We started having people that took our workshop and got a full scholarship asking to give money when they got a job and stuff. And so we're working on a nonprofit, the Fearless Scholarship Fund. We'll let people know as that comes along. It's a little bit harder because we got to deal with the government, and we've done a lot of the work, a lot of the groundwork. The site's ready, and we'll let people know about that. We're meeting with a lawyer next week, I think, to talk about that. In the meantime, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. About 1 to 2 weeks before each workshop, so 7 to 14 calendar days, we drop codes on the internet. We use social media, so Twitter, Insta, LinkedIn. After that, we put it out to the Fearless community, the Fearless Agilist community. There's 8,000 of them. And so just keep your eyes peeled, and when people get the code, they show up on our website, fearlessagility.com. They put it in their cart, and that's how it's going to work. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. Now, we know that means people get left out. That's why we're working on the nonprofit. So we appreciate the patience. We're just 2 people in Fearless Agility, me and Katrina Lake. You can't see her, but she's right back there doing important Fearless Agility businessy things, I can tell. So that's it for questions in the parking lot. I'm going to try to do this more frequently. And in the meantime, be well, be fearless, happy Scrum. I think that was good. I'm pretty sure I did 5 questions in 10 minutes.
Okay, but you have to remember what our real retail pricing is.
Oh.
It's $7.95.